Because y'all see this shirt I have on today, man?
Oh, yeah.
You see that? Little astronaut on his wave runner, going through space, extra, enjoying life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a representation of not only me, but you know how my weekend will be this week. Living the good life, partying like a rock star, galaxy traveling. And more importantly, it's from our good friends over at Into the AM. Because, you know, they always got that good for us in terms of deals, in terms of just fly content, man. We talk about the shirts.
You see me wearing that trucker hat?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the hats and everything, man. Yeah, they do a good job, man, with their merch and things like that. And since they are partners with us, man, we always got to show them love. But not just that, man. We also got a promo code. You know, when you're checking out, promo code MOATS, the number 10, or you could just use the website link, right? www.intotheam.com/MOATS10. So you get your 10% off of your orders. But yes, definitely got to show them love because, like I said, man, they keep me looking fly, keeping Deke looking fly. And this is how we do it, baby. So shout out to Into the AM. How we feeling, man?
I feel fine.
I feel
as long as we're healthy, as long as our defense is healthy, I feel 100% fine about this game. Yeah. I feel really good, actually, because we didn't have our full arsenal the first time we played them either.
Yeah. Who were we missing the first time we went?
We were missing TJ Watt. I know that for a fact. I can't remember if we were missing anyone else like in the secondary or not, but TJ Watt was a big deal. Yeah, and I think we were missing Alex Highsmith too. Because we were playing Melvin Ingram and Tuska.
Yeah.
No, Highsmith, I think, played. Damn it.
Yeah, because that was the game where none of the guys had sacks, though. I remember that part.
Am I missing something there? Because Tuska played like 40. Yeah, it was Tuska and Jameer Jones. They split time. Highsmith, because he missed one game. I think it was the Bengals with TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'll double check as we go throughout, but I'm like almost 100% sure because Tuska played like 40%.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have been the case if Highsmith was playing. It would have been 100% Highsmith, 100% Ingram.
We're going to pull it up.
At least 80 or 90.
We'll pull it up.
I'll pull it up. But you know what? I'm betting. I got the time wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm about like 99% sure I'm right on that.
No Highsmith, no TJ that game?
No Highsmith, no TJ. And we couldn't get pressure on them. That was one of the things we talked about with their offensive line, how much they sucked. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't really do anything. Meanwhile, it was reverse on the other end. They were getting after us like it was nothing.
They definitely got after us big time that one, man.
I feel good about this matchup.
I'm trying to think. So right now it's looking like Ebron is definitely out. He's supposed to have surgery coming up. That's crazy. He got hurt on the touchdown. Like, what the heck?
Yep.
But well, that's good though for my beard, though. I'll tell you that. Can't drop it if you're not out there, baby. So it looks like the beard's here for the long haul.
So you're really keeping
Hey, man, he didn't drop it. Did he drop anything?
You're right.
He hasn't dropped anything.
I didn't know if you would shave it because we lost, though.
No. Yours was the winning and losing. Mine was just for Ebron.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't drop anything, and he's not going to drop anything now that, you know, he's hurt.
It's official. Highsmith was not in for the Bengals game.
Yeah. Where was TJ?
Oh, he definitely wasn't in either because he got hurt in the Raiders game, and he missed the Bengals game.
Okay.
And
I don't remember it being like that.
He came back in the Packers game. It was the whole homecoming thing.
No, I get that. I just don't remember both of those guys being out at the same time in that game. I thought one of them at least played in it.
No. I think that was the case for...
Because I know Raiders game, that's when TJ went out.
Yeah. TJ went out.
Yeah.
So, if TJ's healthy, obviously we need Minka and Joe back too. Yeah. I like our chances here. And Highsmith's really hitting his stride these last however many games. We should be able to get pressure on him. So I'm feeling good. And obviously we'll get into more of that whenever we're talking about dislikes and matchups and that type of stuff. But in terms of just general feel right now, Ben playing in Ohio, gotta have it game.
It's definitely a gotta have it game, baby.
Come on, man.
Definitely gotta have it game, baby. All right.
Well, you want to start?
Me, man. Yeah, let's start with the 3 things, man. 3 things that we like. All right, because I see the chat already dropping in some of their 3 things, which I definitely appreciate y'all on the money. But the first thing I like is their offense as a whole. I think that they do a really good job of not just having an identity, but also being able to adjust on the flow. Like, they like to throw the ball. We know that. We talked about that. We said at times they were very similar to what we like to do in terms of some of the quicker passing attacks, screen stuff, or not screens, but slant stuff, get the ball in these guys' hands. They run their jet sweeps too. I don't know if you know that.
Dude, they got a bunch of like play action stuff too. Little flea flickers.
They do that. The fake flea flicker, which was like, I actually love that play. We saw that the college game too, where it's like the hand it off, fake the throwback, and then take it. I was like,
the reason I guess they were able to pull that off is because they actually do flea flickers too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like little things where they're throwing across the field, halfback to quarterback and stuff.
So it's like, I really like their offense.
They didn't do any of that against us the first time. I don't remember that.
Yeah, they were cool. But the thing that I like about them, though, is like I said, man, they can stretch the field. They have the wide receivers out there. Super talented. But then at the same time, it's like, man, you saw the way the Raiders were playing them. They didn't want to allow those guys to just sit back there, right? So to carve them up from a passing standpoint. So they played with the too high look. And every time they did that, they were completely fine handing it off to Joe Mixon and just letting him run. So to me, man, like I said, I really enjoy their offense, man.
Offense as a whole, you're saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. Because I could split it up. I could probably split it up 3 ways. I could say receiver, running back, Burrow, I guess. Mm-hmm. Even though he's been sliding back a little bit. He's still really solid, though. Yeah, I'm trying to think on how I want to divvy up my likes here. I would just say they're really similar to the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Whenever I look at their team, like solid, there's not anything to really dislike outside of probably their offensive line. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, because they're solid on offense. They got Burrow, Mixon, they got the players, they got the talent. Even the tight end that I've ripped on in the past, Azuma, he's having a pretty good year. Yeah, he's pretty solid for them. And their defense, corners are good. Their linebackers are above average. Safeties are really good. Mm-hmm. Defensive line's really solid. So if I'm going to say, I got to divvy this up. So I'm going to do.
That boy just listed off all the likes. I'm like, dang, bro.
I know. Basically everything outside of offensive line.
Like you really like them, yeah.
I'm going to go with. I'll just say Joe Mixon. I'll say Joe Mixon. Because I really like his running style. Mm-hmm. I know you've been high on him for a while, but there's been a couple things I've even seen this season where he's got the patience like Bell. Mm-hmm. He might even have more burst than Bell.
He definitely he's always had more burst, bro. Yeah.
Even prime Bell, mm-hmm. He could be patient, taking it to the outside. He finds holes, and then he could take something to the house. No way. So I'm going to say Joe Mixon.
I'm glad that you on the Joe Mixon train, man. Yeah, we said that as soon as he got drafted, we like, man, hate the person in terms of like the stuff that happened with him at Oklahoma. But it was like, dude, we had to respect the talent. It was like, man, he is the newer model L Bell, kind of like the Terminators. It's like, oh, that's like the old Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator. He's big, strong, but he's not that fast. Then you get like this new model. You're like, bro, what is this? That's how we looked at Joe Mixon, because it was like you said, he's just as big as L Bell, just as elusive, has the patience, but has way more burst. Like he can go to the crib. Like that's what L Bell can't do. That was always his knock. He didn't have that top end, but Mixon definitely could do that. And I mean, you saw it. We saw it in our game. We saw it in this past game against the Raiders. Like, if he gets a lane, if he gets a crease, it's just tough sledding right there, man.
What's your number 2?
My number 2, though, I like their top end talent. We talk about Jamar Chase, young guy setting the league on fire. Talk about Joe Mixon, running back that has been super consistent. And even with not the best O-line play, he still is going to produce. You talk about Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates still playing at a high level. Definitely enjoying that. Yeah. And then the two guys that, because obviously the receiving group, like for me, is Jamar Chase clear cut, and then I put in Higgins and Boyd kind of in that next tier. So I don't really consider them like elite talent.
Chase is still in their shine, dude.
Chase is the man. But I told you that though. He was that dude. If everybody, when they saw Justin Jefferson set the league on fire, it's like, bro, Jamar Chase was the better receiver of those two, and it wasn't even a debate. So for me, I was always like, bro, he's gonna come in here. And if he was doing this, it's gonna get gory with this guy.
Yeah, I thought it would just be maybe a little bit more of an equal distribution. Burrow is just feeding Chase.
Well, why wouldn't you? I'm over here when he doesn't throw it, I'm pissed. I'm like, bro, why you throwing it to Tyler Boyd? Why you throwing it to Higgins? It's like, it's not a bad thing, but it's like, why you throwing it there?
If those are your number 2 and 3 receivers right now, you got a pretty good problem.
But that dude Chase, man, he draws so much attention. Like, it's crazy. Like, it looks A-B-esque at times when you're looking at these coverages, and I'm like, dang, this is here, the body position here, he's showing over top. I'm like, oh, and they still gonna throw it over there. Like, it's crazy to me, man. Crazy. But I love their top end talent, man. To me, like, I forgot what was the team we were talking about 2 weeks ago. Might have been the Bears.
Whenever we were playing
like,
the Bears.
Yeah, when Khalil Mack was out, and we're like, man, they just don't have like A-level guys.
They had no one outside of Allen Robinson, but they didn't use them.
Like, to me, when I think of this Bengals team, I'm like, they have A-level players who play at that level. And that's the thing, like I said, that I just like about them right now, man.
Yeah. So I'll reiterate that and kind of even what I was saying previously. So I'll say the connection of Joe Burrow to his receivers.
LSU.
Yeah, whether it's Jamar Chase, even the other two receivers, they're really solid as well. The one thing that's interesting to me, though, is some of those drops that were happening in the preseason have carried over with Jamar Chase. Like, they could even be better.
Yep. They absolutely could.
There's a lot of self-inflicted wounds, I think. Not only Joe Burrow turning the ball over, but also like Jamar Chase dropping a couple balls here and there. So for the Bengals, they just can't beat themselves. That's actually what's gotten them out of a couple of these games. Like the Browns game, I actually don't think it was as bad as what the score says. The Bengals were able to kind of go up and down the field early on. He threw that pick 6 down at like the 5-yard line.
Bro, it might have been closer to that. And that's like what got everything started off. Then they came right back and marched right down the field. Should have been 14-0.
Yeah, because Baker didn't do anything crazy that game. They just had the big play. They had the Nick Chubb. It was like a 60, 70-yard run, and Baker had that one to Donovan Peoples-Jones for like 60 yards. You combine that with some of the turnovers the Bengals had, and it was a little bit of a closer game. But I will say that, though, too, with some of the Bengals blowout games, like the one against the Raiders. Yeah. When you see that final score, it was so much closer. It was that Derek Carr pick with like 4 minutes left.
It was 16-13 in the fourth with 4 minutes left. And I was thinking to say, I'm looking like, when did how did this happen? I was like, yo, when did they score these points, man? And I was like, okay, is it like what we did with the 27 in the fourth? But I'm like, nah, it was taking forever to even get that. But yeah, that's definitely the case, man. And they did kind of give it up when Mixon had that last touchdown run, the like 20, 30-yard one. It was, you can just see, man. It's like, all right, it's getting them. It is getting them. All right.
So we kind of agree on both of our first two here. What do you got for 3?
All right, Phil, my last one, I like the pass rushers. Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. Now, the first time we had this matchup, I was skeptical of them because both of them have had success in their careers. In terms of Hubbard, he's always been a 7-8 sack guy. Hendrickson has I think he's led the league maybe once in sacks, but he's went over 13, I think twice in his career thus far. And right now he's sitting at 9.5, and I think Hubbard is sitting at about 6.5, 7. Watching them two dudes on tape, though, man, they are getting after it. Like, they were part of the reason, a big part of the reason why Derek Carr struggled and ultimately why they were able to create some of those turnovers. Like, those two dudes, man, they feed off of each other. I like their length. Both of those dudes, 6'5", 6'6", like big body, long edge guys. And they actually have bursts. Like, typically when I watch like your old school Cincinnati D linemen, like your Carlos Dunlap and your Michael Johnson or whatever, they were big and like long guys, but they weren't necessarily like twitchy. They didn't have like a burst per se. But when I watch like Hendrickson, I'm like, bro, he's getting off the ball. Like, that big dude's like moving. And to see, like I said, Hubbard on the other side and them actually putting it together and both of them, you know, stacking up these sack numbers and playing at a high level as a pass rusher, I'm like, man, that gets me going. That gets me going.
To piggyback off that, 6 sacks for Hubbard. That's a surprising statistic. Yeah. If you were to tell me that before the season started. 11 QB hits for him, and then Hendrickson has 9.5 sacks.
Dude, they are going
15 at it, QB hits. Yeah, so I'm with you. Yeah. You know how you said offense as a whole? I'm going to almost say that for the defense here because I do like their defensive line. I do think there is a little bit of a consistency at times getting pressure, but we saw what they did against us, and that matchup shouldn't be favorable again this time. You just got to hope we grit it out almost like we did in the Browns game where, hey, man, Ben's going to have to get the ball out quick. He's going to have a good feel of their defense and when to pick his spots and whatnot. But then also they have good cornerbacks. One of their linebackers, Lone Wilson, he picked us off twice. Now, granted, Ben threw the one right to him, and the other one was tipped at the line of scrimmage. But
sometimes throwing it right to them works, especially if they're the best in the nation. If you're the best in the nation, just throw it directly at that player. He won't catch it, I promise.
Right. Ben was testing Logan Wilson out, I guess. Like, it seemed like he had hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, their defense as a whole, like their linebackers are solid, and then I like their cornerbacks too. Like Eli Apple's having a little bit of a resurgence here. Mike Hilton's good, and then I talked about Awuzie last. I think he's pretty solid too.
But what I will say is this: for the emergence of Eli Apple, I was watching him. I'm like, bro, you're going to full.
Listen, I still think it could be had.
Oh my God, you're going
I still think they could be had. For
oh
sure.
My God,
it's
you could protect That's the one.
I was gonna say,
that's the one, bro.
It is like the Chargers scenario.
That's the one, man.
They're not a problem, but I don't think they're Denver's. What was that no fly zone?
Yeah,
like,
they're not like that.
Some of the top corners
they're
of all time.
They're definitely respectable.
Yeah, respectable. But if Ben has time, dudes are getting open. We get it. There's no reason we can't do the same thing that we did against the Chargers against this Bengals secondary if needed. I would like to run the ball,
and
establish
for me personally,
the run and
I
stuff,
probably like that Chargers secondary a little bit more than the Bengals secondary. Because for me, I like Derwin James a lot more than Jesse Bates. And I do think that even though Eli is having a resurgence, for me, I'm still rather roll with Chris Harris, Asante, and that group they got out there versus these corners. I don't really like these corners as much. Now, Eli, part of it is the PTSD. Like, we've seen him be bad too many times. So now it's like he's doing good. I'm just like, all right. But I remember that. So that's part of it for me, man. I like it. So I
get pissed off sometimes when that happens, when another team's able to get like a former first round stud, goes wayward, but then have a resurgence, especially with an AFC North rival, because I'm always thinking, like, why couldn't we do that? Why couldn't we have Eli Apple?
The Patriots did it all the time. It's like, yo, but Kavis Mingo, what are you doing up there getting all these sacks all of a sudden, bro? Like, you was just in Cleveland. You ain't do nothing. Adrian Claymore, like, what's going on? Now you go up here. Now you can ball. Like, yeah. I could definitely see it, man.
What are people saying in the chat? Right. Let's check it out.
So, first off, Let's Go UW says, and we appreciate your support. Hopefully, 7 remembers to avoid my man Logan Wilson this time. Oh, man. Yeah. Because like you just said, he did hit him twice. So, yes, hopefully he does avoid your dude, Logan Wilson. Logan, I like his game, though. That was the linebacker. I couldn't remember his name. We were talking about the other day. I was like, yo, what's this dude's name? What's his name? Logan Wilson.
You know how we just talked about the Raiders game, though?
Yeah.
I felt the same way a little bit about our game with the Bengals. It was 7-7 with like 50 seconds left before halftime. Yeah. Pierre gives up that bomb to Jamar Chase, and then we get the ball coming out of half. Ben throws it right to him, and then they're able to score an easy touchdown. And it's like 24-7, like that. And then we were able to move the ball in the second half, try to get those, I guess you could say, garbage points. But
because if you look,
we had so many penalties every time we got down there.
Though, it was crazy. Like, both of us in that game, because I went back and looked at it, were highly penalized. I think we had 8 penalties. They had 12 penalties. But we had about 20 plays more than I think we ended up with like 77 to them, like 45, 47 range. But it was just crazy. That was the difference. Like, we moved it up and down. We could not capitalize.
Not in the red zone.
Yeah, we could not capitalize.
That was the penalty here, there. And then there'd be a play or two where Najee was able to break it off for like 10 yards and we get called for a holding and get like back 10 yards. So like we were just killing ourselves that game.
Because both quarterbacks got sacked. I felt like we were under duress a lot more.
Yeah.
No, we didn't sack them. Excuse me on that. We didn't sack them.
No, I didn't feel like we had any pressure because no Highsmith and Watt.
Yep. All right. So let's see the 3 things that people are saying that they like about this Bengals team. The Normsman 7 says Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. It's the Bengals. Rod Dollar says Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase. Jamie Carlos says, I like not a dang thing. It's the Bengals. I can believe it. Dave Shipley says Mixon, Burrows, and he says the Reds. All right. Donald says Joe Burrow. Ogunjobi on the D-line. Shout out to my dog Larry. And then Jamar Chase as well. All right. And then Vincent Murray. Shout out to the homie Vincent Murray in the building, man. He says Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the D-line. Plus Mike Hilton is fire. Yeah, Money Mike, that's my dude. All right.
Black and Martyr just has a little super chat here. Says nothing to say at the moment. Just chipping in.
No, man. Respect. I like that, baby.
Thank you for that.
No doubt. All right. Ready to hit these don't likes?
Yeah.
Which you don't like. I mean, first off, it's Cincinnati. I'd never liked Cincinnati. In fact, we still owe them. You know what I'm saying? Just cause. We still owe them. Just cause.
Yeah, could I pull the whole organization card out of the back pocket on this one?
I don't like them because
I did with the Lions.
Where they're geographically located, I don't like them. How about that? You know, the colors that they wear. How about I can't go on the colors. I'm sorry. But the new colors that they wear, I don't like that. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, for me, man, you hit on it a little bit earlier. I think they're inconsistent. When I watch them, some games, man, it's like the O-line protects pretty well. Some games, Joe Burrow is looking like, the number 1 overall pick. He's hitting some throws and he's looking good.
Yeah, like second half in the Jaguars game.
But then in some games where I'm just like, what are we watching? Like, this O-line has reverted back to the Bengals O-line of, a year or two ago. Sometimes Joe Burrow's like, why are you forcing this ball? Are you not like reading like what's going on here. And then even their D-line at times, I'm like, I think they can get pressure, but then at times they kind of disappear as well. So the inconsistencies that I see with them, I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah, I'll agree with you 100% on that. So I'll just mark that as my number one because I did kind of discuss it a little bit when we were talking about likes and you hit it on it there. So I'll just get to my number two. And for me, it's just offensive line across the board. It is better than last year for sure, but you could see at times Joe Burrow's under duress. And I don't know if this is just me going too far on my eye test and stuff. Dude, he doesn't look right still a little bit with how he's moving. I don't know if it's the surgery or if he's a little gunshot. I don't know, but he looks like he's laboring at times. He doesn't look as mobile as he did coming in. I don't know if it's just going to take a year for him to get acclimated again, but
and see, that's the thing to me too. It's like,
sometimes he looks really good in the pocket where he's stepping up, moving around. You're like, holy shit, man.
And there's times where you'll see him go down. He's like favoring it too. He'll like grab it. If I think in the Raiders game, he like gets up, he's limping. And that's the thing to me. Not to go back to the Bush thing, but like when we talked about Bush, was it like the injury still holding him back? I'm like, we don't see that with Devin where he looks limited or he looks like he's laboring or in pain. Like Joe Burrow at times, it's like, bro, you look like you hurting still. Like you need to go put some ice on that thing. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Definitely with you.
So I got with you number one offensive or inconsistencies and then number O-line. Two offensive line. Yeah.
Well, see, it's funny you went O-line because that was actually my second one as well. I feel like you was covering my sheet up. Nah. But the O-line, man, without a doubt, dude, it's crazy. They have moments where they look good. They have moments where they protect Burrow. They have moments where Jonah Williams looks good.
They could take those deep shots and stuff. Yeah.
Then they got times where it is just like, you know, my man Burrow is under siege. He's back there spinning, juking guys, running out the pocket. I'm like, this is crazy. But to me, man, an O-line is like that. That's hard to play behind consistently because you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know, okay, which group is showing up today? It's not like ours where we like, all right, we know what y'all going to do. It's like anything y'all do looking like this is always great. With them, man, at moments, they look like they can be like a really good unit. Then other times, just like, bro, y'all are a nightmare. So yeah, definitely had to go with you on that O-line right there, baby.
You want to go year three, or you want me to go?
I want to go. Actually, I like going first.
Okay,
I'm a get mine's first type of guy.
I'm interested in your third.
All right, I kind of already hinted to it. I don't like their corners, bro.
Okay, you don't.
I don't. I'm not an Eli Apple guy though.
Okay,
and you know how like, all right, you know when I say I'm not a fan of that player, it's like it's hard for like they got to do a lot more for me to like unsee some of the bad. Like for me, Eli, sometimes like his balls, because I wasn't a fan of. For me, his position, I still think that he does it to an extent, panics, you know, at the catch point at times.
So you think it's mainly him?
It's not just mainly him. Like I do think was it Awuzie? I like him a little bit more.
Like I think they're solid as a group.
As a group, yes, but to me, I don't think like when I'm thinking about this matchup, I'm excited for our receivers. Like that's kind of like whereas last week I wasn't as excited. I was kind of like, man, this could be a little tough right here. Like this could be good, you know what I mean? Because I think they're kind of comparable. I don't view those guys like that. I don't. Maybe I'm a little bit bullish on them. Maybe it's the high of the last week's performance from our offense. But to me, I don't see a guy out there that's going to guard Deontay. I don't.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, like when I'm watching how Deontay is running his routes, how he's combat catching now, like. He's doing some of the stuff that we want Claypool to do, right? In terms of those 50-50, those tight windows, like that's what he's showing he can do. I don't think they got a guy that can handle that right now, man. And it's definitely not Eli.
I want to play off that a little bit too, even though it's not about the corners, but it's more about our passing game. Mm-hmm. What about Freiermuth?
That's another one.
Darren Waller went off against them.
He did.
I mean, there's been a couple times where tight ends have had success against the Bengals and their linebackers.
The only reason because I did see how Waller cooked them. The only reason I was a little bit hesitant about that is just because like Waller's size and his length.
Yeah,
he has
like a top 3 tight end.
Right. And he also has like that. I feel like he has more linear speed than Pat. I think Pat is definitely a savvy route runner. Great in terms of combat catching, but he's not a guy that you're worried about him streaking 30 yards down the middle of the field per se. Whereas like with Waller, you got to treat him like he's a big receiver because he can. And we saw, I mean, in that game, bro, it was, whew. But it wasn't just Waller. It was the other cat went up on Logan and caught the touchdown on him.
Yeah.
I forgot that dude's name. Yeah, but they went up top as soon as, and it was bad too. I was looking at Logan. I'm like, bro, you would have been fine. But when you took that extra, because he lined up at like 6-7 yards deep, I was like, by you doing that, you told everybody in the stadium that you man to man with no help, because that's the only reason why you would be that deep. And I was like, as soon as he did that, Carr ain't even looking. He was, we're going right to you, buddy. It's like, yo, I like what you're doing, but you got to disguise it a little bit more, man. You can't be that far, baby, because they know you're not playing no zone coverage that deep. You're not a corner. You know what I mean? If you was going to be, you know, you would be out there. So it's like, yeah, you push it up just another yard and a half. It'll be a little iffy, but it's going to save you on the back end, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm using it. I'm pulling the card out.
Uh-oh.
The organization card.
Oh!
Combine that.
Talk about it.
With the team's overall inexperience. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe we're going in there and we're going to win this game because it's something I've seen so much before from Ben Roethlisberger in games that we got to have middle of the season. We need to go on a little winning streak to get, whether it's in the playoff mix, win the division. I've seen it so many times, and the Steelers organization has been a huge model of consistency. You put us up there in the top 5 over the past 20 years. Us, Packers, New England, Saints, I guess you could say, and Seahawks. Like, those would probably be like the top 5, and we're right there. Bengals, you know, you talk about inconsistency on the field. That's what they've been in as an organization. And I have not seen it with this group yet. They haven't even reached the Andy Dalton portion of success yet.
They haven't. No. At least
we saw some of their highs this season so far, but they've backslidden a little bit. The Jets carved them up. Mike White.
You keep coming to this backslide thing, man. I like when you backslide, man. I like when you say that, bro. It just make me feel like I'm back at home. Better stop that backsliding, you heathen. Glory.
What, do people like say that?
This is a church man. Yeah, you backslider.
You need to find God again.
Yeah, man. Get your life right.
But yeah, that's how I feel about this game and just the Bengals organization as a whole. And experience and then organization.
I like it.
I think there's something to that.
No,
you see it with the Browns, dude. Like, they talk all this shit about, oh, we made the playoffs last year. Even, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago when they first got Odell Beckham. Yeah. Dude, you haven't proven anything. And same with this Bengals team. You had a nice little run the first 3-4 weeks of the season. You had the top seed, but cool. That's like the first quarter of the season. There's still a long ways to go. So let's see what you can do against us.
I like it.